Okay, welcome in. I do apologize. The angle of this tablet and the TV are just not lining up, so I'm very much aware that it is going to be a little obsolete or a little crooked. But what I want to do is something I started last year was going over the team's records and their stats from this past NFL season. So the Carolina Panthers were the worst team in the NFL. They only had 2 wins and 15 losses on the season. They will most likely get the first overall pick unless a team trades up for them. It'd be very hard for that to not be the case. And another thing too is they also will get Chicago's draft pick since they obviously traded DJ Moore in the offseason. So we'll see uh, how many picks the Panthers end up getting in the first round. It should be at least two. But again, I'd be very shocked if a team traded up for them, considering that they are clearly in a rebuild mode and they need a lot of pieces in order to try to get this ship back going. So again, as I said, so they finished with a record of 2-15, not very good. They finished the season on a 3-game losing streak. They had 2 home wins, 6 home losses, and then clearly they were not able to get any victories on the road as they finished with a 0-9 record, respectively. Just going to move that over. Yeah, so I'll see if I can get it highlighted on the screen. There. So if you can see the light, that's the section that I'm trying to look at. So 0 wins and 9 losses away from home. And when it came to their division, you play them 6 games. They had 1 win to 5 division losses. So not a very good outing at all if you're a Panthers fan. And then it shows the records against teams in the NFC. 1 win, 11 losses. Hold on a second. NFC wins, NFC losses, 1-11. AFC, they had 1 win over the AFC West, and then 1 win over the AFC teams and 4 losses to the AFC as well. So they had 1 win in each conference, if you have to look at it like that. So again, a very poor outing for the Carolina Panthers. And now I'll take a look at the player stats as well. So I'll see if I'm able to bring that up. Stats and awards, player stats. So I will take a look at the Panthers. Where are we? Okay, so Bryce Young was their quarterback. This was his rookie season. He finished with 2,877 yards, 315 passing completions to 527 attempts, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Andy Dalton only threw for 361 yards. He was 34 out of 58 and 2 touchdowns on the season. So, again, not the best, but it is what it is. So his longest pass for Bryce Young of the season was 48 yards. Andy Dalton had 47 yards, so very close. He was sacked 62 times. Andy Dalton was sacked 3 times. He played 16 games. Dalton played 2 games. So obviously Bryce Young had the majority of the control at the quarterback position. We'll take a look at the rushing, and we'll see who was on top. So Chuba Hubbard had the most yards. He had 902 yards on the ground, 238 attempts, 5 touchdowns. Miles Sanders came over from the Eagles, and he only had 129 attempts for 432 yards and a single touchdown. Bryce Young had 39 rushing attempts for 253 yards. Emir Smith Marset, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. He was a wide receiver. He had 8 rushes, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Laviska Shenault Jr. had 12 attempts for 55 yards. Raheem Blackshear had 14 attempts for 46 yards. Andy Dalton ran the ball 3 times for 12 yards. Adam Thielen, who was the big off-season acquisition, who came over from the Minnesota Vikings, only had 1 attempt at a rush for 6 yards. As far as I can tell, there's zeros all across the board for the rest of that list. I'm very much aware this is quite blurry, so I do apologize. Take a look at the receiving. Holy good grief. Okay, I'll just have to leave the tablet just like that. So Adam Thielen had the most yardage. He had 103 receptions for 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns. DJ Chark Jr. had 35 catches, 525 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Jonathan Mingo had 43 catches for 418 yards, no touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard had 39 catches for 233 yards, 0 touchdowns. Tommy Tremble had 23 catches for 194 yards and 3 scores. Hayden Hurst had 18 catches, 184 yards, and 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders had 27 receptions for 154 yards. Terrence Marshall had 19 receptions for 139 yards. Stephen Sullivan had 12 receptions for 125 yards. Laviska Shenault Jr., 10 catches for 60 yards. Ian Thomas, 5 catches for 56 yards. Amir Smith-Marset, 8 receptions for 51 yards. Raheem Blackshear had 6 catches for 45 yards. Mike Strachan had 1 catch for 45. And G had 1 catch for 2 yards, but he's the fullback, so you're not going to get a whole lot of receptions when it comes to that particular aspect. The blocking, it is what it is. They have an O-line. The defensive side, Frankie Luvu led the team, I believe, in tackles. He had 66 solo tackles, 59 assisted tackles for 125 tackles in total. Derek Brown had 57 solo tackles, 46 assisted for 103 in total. Von Bell had 42 solo, 27 helps, and 69 total tackles on the season. Guess I could look at this. Derek Brown had an interception. Von Bell had an interception as well. Xavier Woods had 39 solo tackles, 22 assisted, 61 total tackles, and he had 2 interceptions on the season, so not too bad. Dante Jackson had 49 solo tackles, 10 assisted, so 59 in total. Camus Grigier Hill, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, had 31 solo tackles, 25 assisted, for a total of 56, and he also had an interception as well. Brian Burns had 32 solo tackles, 18 assisted for 50 total tackles on the season. Troy Hill had 30 solo, 18 assisted, which would bring us to 48 tackles for the season, and he also had a pick. Shai Tootle had 19 solo, 24 assisted for 43 total tackles on the season. Shaquille Griffin had 29 solo, 10 assisted for 39. He also had an interception as well. CJ Henderson, 31 solo, 8 assisted for a grand total of 39. Where are we? Yetur Matos, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, had 19 solo, 17 assisted, which bring his total to 36. Deion Jones, 22 solo, 13 assists for 35 total tackles. He also had a pick as well. Deshaun Williams, 13 solo, 20 assisted for a grand total of 33 tackles on the season. Nick Thurman had 13 tackles, 18 assisted tackles, which brought his grand total to 31. Jeremy Chin, 18 solo, 12 assisted for 30 total tackles. Sam Franklin Jr., 20 solo, 10 assisted, which brought his total to 30. He also had a pick as well. J.C. Horn, 20 solo, 7 assisted for a grand total of 27 tackles. Amir Barno, 13 solo tackles, 8 assisted for 21 total tackles on the season. Labrian Ray, 7 tackles, 12 assisted, 19 total. Jamie Robertson, 11 tackles, 6 assisted, 17 total tackles. Marquise Haynes Sr., 13 solo, 3 assisted, 16 on the season. DJ Johnson had 6 solo tackles, 10 assisted, which brought his total to 16. DiCaprio Boodle, 14 solo tackles, no assisted tackles to his name. Alex Cook had 6 solo, 5 assisted, which brought his total to 11 tackles on the year. Chandler Wooten had 2 tackles, 6 assisted, 8 on the season. Shaq Thompson 6 solo, 2 assisted, 8 on the season. Tay Davis, 2 solo, 5 assisted, 7 on the year. Iko Leota had 2 solo, 2 assisted for 4 tackles on the season. And the last but not least, Chris Wormley had 1 tackle, 3 assisted, so 4 was the grand total of tackles that he had on the season. Let's take a look at their special teams. Their kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, went 25 of 39 when it came to the field goals. He had 17 out of 20 extra points made. So, again, not that great, but not too bad. So when it came to field goals, under 30 yards, he was perfect, 6 for 6. Oh, here we go. I'll see if I can get it highlighted here again. So 6 field goals made from under 30 out of 6 attempts. When it came to field goals from 40 and less, he was 7 out of 7. And when it came to field goals that were 50 and less, he was 7 out of 9. And field goals from 50 and more, he was 5 out of 7. So not too terrible. And that's pretty much it for the special teams. I'm going to look at the punts scenario. Johnny Hecker, 82 punts, 3,838 yards. He had punts down within the 20-yard line. He had 25 of those. And touchbacks on punts, he had 5. So not too bad. His longest punt of the season was for 69 yards. Again, nothing too crazy. So when it came to the kick return, Raheem Blackshear and Laviska Shenault Jr. both kind of shared it a little bit. He had 10 returns for 287 yards. The longest return he had was for 52. Laviska Shenault Jr. had 6 kick returns, 167 yards, and his longest was 37 yards. Punt returns. Emir Smith Marset was the lone man who had punt returns. He had 10 of them for 70 yards, and the longest return he had was 29. All right, now we're right back to the passing. Okay, so that's going to take care of my review for the Carolina Panthers. I will attempt to do videos like this on the daily, going from the worst to first in the NFL. As always, if you're new to this channel and like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.